Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me, and one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
I'm not going to give you his name.
So go through the countries again.
Well, starting with Iraq, then Syria and Lebanon, then Libya, then Somalia and Sudan, and then back to Iran. So when you look at Iran, you say, is it a replay? It's not exactly a replay, but here's the truth, that Iran from the beginning has seen that the presence of the United States in Iraq was a threat. A blessing, because we took out Saddam Hussein and the Baathists. They couldn't handle them. We took care of it for them. But also a threat because they knew that they were next on the hit list. And so, of course, they got engaged. They lost 1 million people during the war with Iraq. And they've got a long and unprotectable, unsecurable border. So it was in their vital interest to be deeply involved inside Iraq.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'm give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. I'm going to do a short lesson, Lord willing, about, the coming war that's going to bring, the world into complete all-out world war, all right? And like this devil was saying, his name is General Wesley. And this was a few years back. And Donald Rumsfeld, the person he's talking about is Donald Rumsfeld, another demon. And basically, when 9/11 happened, like he explained, they told him that it's not only Iraq we're going after, okay? We're going after 7 other countries on the hit list, like he said, all right? And you remember him saying, if we're a hammer, basically everything else is a nail. Now I'm going to get this scripture right here, Jeremiah 50:23, Salakia. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Because that's going to be the outcome of Babylon the Great, America. All right, that's going to be the inevitability of what's going to happen to America. Okay, this place is going to be destroyed. All right. Let me get this scripture right here. I'm gonna play a video. It's a 15-minute video. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna try to stop in between it, right? But it's just to show you that Iran is going to be the last place that America, Babylon the Great, goes to war with. And the way that's going to happen is going to be through Israel. All right. Israel, the Amalekites, Esau, Edom, the head nation of Esau, Edom, all right? These wicked Amalekites, these wicked elite, all right? They want World War III, okay? In order to basically cull, all right, or put to death 90% of the population, all right, through thermonuclear war, all right? But it's not their plan, it's the plan of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, okay? But at the end of the day, they're not gonna, you know, people are gonna get destroyed in nuclear destruction, especially America and certain places around the earth. But you know, there's gonna be still people here, all right, because we're gonna have slaves, okay. We're gonna have these wicked elite in chains and fetters of iron, all right. But let me get this scripture right here. And I'm going to read both of them because I just found it so interesting. I'm going to read Jeremiah 50 and 45 first. Then I'm going to read Jeremiah 49 and 20. Salakia. All right, so Jeremiah 50 and 45 says, therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which are the prophets, all right, that he hath taken against Babylon and his purposes, all right, the New World Order, right, the wickedness, the MOTB, right, world domination, destroying the people, destroying the earth, all types of madness and wickedness, right, that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans, all right, the land of Chaldeans, that's talking about Esau, Edom, all right, the sorcerers, as the elders and the apostles break it down. These were in Babylon, in ancient Babylon. These were the sorcerers, all right, and that's what these wicked elite do. They do sorcery, wickedness, all right. They do heavy sorcery, man, from the media, from the news, to the movies, to the cartoons, to what they push in on the left and on the right in politics, you know. When it's all for the same purpose, all right, but it's all to dumb down the people, right? To stupefy them, right? To simplify them, to make them stupid, all right, so that they could get away with the wicked deeds, right, in their faces and in the dark, okay. Next part, it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, right? It says the least of the flock, and the least of the flock is talking about Esau, Edom, and the least of the tribe of Esau, which are the Amalekites, these people that are in Israel, okay? They're Edomites, but they are the head tribe, okay? They are the head tribe of Edom, all right? Of these so-called white people who are really red, okay? They are the head tribe of them, all right? They're the top tribe, Amalek. The ones that have the Holy Land, that are in the Holy Land right now, calling themselves to be the holy people, which they are not, all right? They're imposters, okay? But it says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. And I'm going to show you in this lesson how that's gonna happen, okay? Because Israel and Iran, they've been going through for years. And I believe, what was it, Obama or Trump? But basically they had like some type of agreement, like America had like basically some agreement with Iran and Israel, basically, that Iran wouldn't make any nuclear weapons, all right, or get any uranium or whatever. And they had this other thing where it was like basically that they had to like basically keep cameras on their nuclear facilities and basically keep up the government, and you know I forgot what it was called, the IAEA or the IEA or something like that, I believe. But they constantly got to keep up with them and tell them what they're doing, you know, to see what they're constantly, you know, to see what they're doing, all right, to make sure they're not making any nuclear weapons, or you know, they're not, you know, amassing, I guess, any uranium, and you know, not to make a nuclear, because at the end of the day, these Amalekites, these imposters, right, in the land of Israel, okay, they're afraid because every country around them hates them. They're at constant war. Okay, that's how we know. That's another telltale sign of us knowing that these aren't the true people of the scriptures. These are not the true people, because in the scriptures it said, it says that when the true people go back into the land, there'll be no more war. Just like when King David, right, when he subdued all the heathen round about, right? He subdued all the heathen round about, right? And he rolled out the red carpet for Solomon, which is Yahushua, right, in the spirit. And he had peace. Okay? King David put all of them in garrisons. Esau, Edom, all of the nations were subject unto the Israelites. And that's how it's going to be in the kingdom. We're going to have peace round about. All right? We're not going to have any war. There's not going to be no war. Nobody's going to know war no more, because everybody else besides the Israelites are going to be servants unto the Israelites. Okay? They're going to be servants, plowmen. They're going to be plowing our fields, building our castles, our palaces. Okay? Servants, servitude. All right? But let me read it. Let me read this Jeremiah 49:20. It's the same thing, but listen to how it says it in this one. It says, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, that he hath taken against Edom. Okay? See how Edom and Babylon is put together? Right? In Jeremiah 50 and 45, it says Babylon. But in 49, it says Edom. And his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. And these are the wise men. These will be considered the Chaldeans. Okay? The wise men. The sorcerers. All right? These were the ones, the Germans. Right? The ones that made the weapons of mass destruction. All right? Operation Paperclip. All right, where Russia took some of the Germans in, and America took some of the Germans in, and what's his name, Victor von Braun. All right, this is how they so-called made what you call it, rockets to go to the moon, which they never did. It's a freaking lie. All right, sorcery. See that? Even that sword, that's witchcraft. All right, they pretended to go to the moon. Right, go look up the Van Allen belt. Their tongue shall fall on themselves. Their own tongues shall fall on themselves. Okay? Go look it up. The Van Allen belt. They never went to the moon. Everything was done on Earth. All right? They can get into space, like into the out of orbit, the lower orbit in space, but they can't get through the Van Allen belt. They can't get through it, man. It's impossible for them. All right? Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate, because it's going to get destroyed. Israel's going to get wiped off the face of the planet. All right. Just like Babylon the Great. All right. Because these two are the biggest cancers of the earth. All right. The Edomites in general, they're just the cancer of the earth, and they're going to get destroyed. All right. And Iran, right, has ties with Russia. Okay, they're gonna put bases in Iran. You know, Russia's gonna start putting bases up in Iran and stuff like that. And they have they have a deal. You know, so if Iran gets into war, Russia's gonna back Iran. All right, this is the perfect scenario. The Lord made the perfect scenario. All right. Same thing with Israel. If Israel gets into any conflict, America's gonna hop into it. Okay? Let me get this. All right, this is Joel 3, chapter 3, verse 9. I'm going to read down to probably 14 or 15. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Right, the prophets. This is what the prophets going to be proclaiming unto the Gentiles, these heathens. Right, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say that I'm strong. And that's what a lot of nations have been saying lately. Okay, North Korea. All these countries, all these smaller countries that in times past would never be boasting against America, would never be boasting against America, are boasting, completely boasting against America, complete. Because remember, America they were that country back then. Everybody was afraid of America because of what they did to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the weapons that they had, right? They never seen that before. That was crazy, okay? But now North Korea, that small little North Korea is telling America, I will destroy you. Okay? These nations that were never speaking up against America, Babylon the Great, all right, are now speaking up against, all right? This is prophecy. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong, right? So this is all the will of the Lord, right? And the plowshares and the pruning hooks, these are, as the apostles broke down, these are agricultural tools, like for harvesting and, just agricultural tools and stuff, right? But it said, beat your plowshares into swords, put your stuff for agriculture into war, all right? Next verse, assemble yourselves, come, all ye heathens, and gather yourself together round about thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Let the heathens be wakened and walk up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, right? This is the Middle East, right? This is Yahweh's judgment, the judgment of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, right? Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, right? For there will I sit and judge all the heathens round about, and the Lord is going to judge them all, because that's what's going to bring everybody into World War III. And that's when the Lord is going to come and he's going to judge them all there. They're all going to get judged there by the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. When Yahweh Shai returns, this is what's going to happen, right? Let ye in the sickle, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision. And this is going to be in the Middle East, the valley of decision. All right. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. And that's where he's going to judge. Okay. This is where the Lord is going to judge the heathens for what they did, for the controversy of Zion, for what they did unto us. All right. For what these nations did to us. All right. I'm gonna play this video now.
According to a disturbing leak, the CIA believes that Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, is considering a preemptive war on Iran in an effort to deter Iran from developing nuclear weapons.
And I downloaded this video probably like a week now. So this was probably like a week ago, 6 days ago, not sure, but this was recent, very, very recent.
Now, the CIA does not know for sure based on this leak. So who's to say what the reality of this situation is? But I will say we do trust the source of this report. It was not the New York Times. It was not the Washington Post. The source of this report was Ken Klippenstein over at The Intercept. And the reporting is concerning to say the least, because should this happen, should the Prime Minister of Israel decide to do a strike on Iran, the United States government is already on the record in support of that effort. So let's give you the details. Before we get to the leak, we need to know about how the leak was obtained in the first place. I think that's an important part of the story. So the leaked document first came to our attention via a report from Ken Klippenstein in The Intercept. And it doesn't seem that there are many other publications writing about this, except the leak was first reported on in April by an Israeli news site called Ynet. Ynet reported that they obtained the document through Jack Teixeira's Discord leaks. So remember, Jack Teixeira was the young man who was the head of this small Discord group where he somehow had access to classified documents and was sharing those classified documents with other individuals within that Discord channel. Now, here's the document in question. There it is, and you can't read it, but I'll tell you exactly what it says in just a moment. So If you're wondering whether we can trust the leak, again, for one, Ken Klippenstein's reporting about it. Also, the document does contain specific military terms like FISA, meaning that it was dealt with by a special court that authorizes sensitive surveillance for the American intelligence community. There were some elements to this document that were questionable. For one, it refers to Benjamin Netanyahu as the president of Israel as opposed to the prime minister of Israel. That concerns me. I think it would be strange if the CIA didn't know that he's a prime minister, not a president. But nonetheless, here are some important excerpts from the document itself. On February 20th, Israel conducted a large-scale air exercise, probably to simulate a strike on Iran's nuclear program and possibly to demonstrate Jerusalem's resolve to act against Tehran. Earlier this month, the IAEA detected trace quantities of near weapons-grade uranium in one of Iran's enrichment facilities.
Yeah, that's what it's called, the IAEA. That's what I was trying to say before.
A declared Israeli red line. So let me just pause for a second and remind you all that there was a deal in place. It involved the United States, Iran, and multiple other European countries. And that Iran nuclear deal ensured that Iran was no longer, developing its, nuclear program, its enriched uranium. And they never admitted that they were developing or using enriched uranium for nuclear weapons. However, the United States was able to negotiate under the Obama administration and ensure that they were not developing nuclear weapons. However, under the Trump administration, he comes in, he rips up the Iran nuclear deal, which paves the way for Iran to develop nuclear weapons because we didn't hold up our side of the deal. Let me continue. CIA, according to this leaked document, does not know Israel's near-term plans and intentions. Israel may wait to see US and international reaction to the IAEA's findings regarding Iran's nuclear program and whether Iran's supreme leader will authorize uranium enrichment to weapons grade before deciding whether to take action. And finally, it says that Israeli president, again, he's the prime minister, but that's what the document says. Israeli President Netanyahu probably calculates Israel will need to strike Iran to deter its nuclear program and faces a declining military capability to set back Iran's enrichment program. So again,
you hear that? Let me just get the description. I'll let it play again. Matthews 24:6, the Lord Yahushai, call him Yahushai. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And that's true, because all of these things, for the end is not here, right? Because right now Russia's at war with Ukraine, which is really America. Babylon the Great, they're basically at war, but it's a proxy war, but it's, it's a real war. China and what was it? China and Taiwan, Slovakia, China and Taiwan, right? That's eventually gonna break. That's eventually gonna happen. They're gonna eventually go to war with and Babylon's talking about is gonna back Taiwan, stretching his military thin. Okay, America has his military everywhere, in everybody's business, doing everything it's not supposed to be, but defending the homeland. They're defending its own land and protecting its own people. All right, over here they got the alphabet people living their best life. All right, threatening people. Oh man, but this must happen, right? And there's gonna be rumors of wars, and this is a rumor of war. Okay, but this is their war, the war between the Amalekites and Ishmael, right? I believe it's Ishmael. But the Iranians, Israel, and Iran, that's what's going to bring everyone into World War III. That's what's going to bring every nation in, because America's going to jump in and Russia's going to jump in. And once that war gets hot and boots go on the ground and people start and Russians and Americans start getting, killed and stuff like that, all hell is going to break loose. All hell is going to break loose. That's all it's going to take. Because remember, if two superpowers get into it, that's a different level. These smaller little countries, these small little nations could get into it. It's something, of course, But if these superpowers with nuclear weapons and aircraft and all these and military and navies and all this equipment and technology, once they get into war, it's over, because it's gonna bring everyone into the war. Everybody's gonna join the war. It's gonna be NATO and the EU versus the BRICS. All right, that's gonna eventually is gonna be the West versus the East. That's eventually what's gonna happen. All right, and what's gonna eventually happen is hold on. What's eventually gonna happen? All right, because everybody's gonna realize that America is the problem. Okay, even their own people, even their own NATO people, their own EU people, their own allies are gonna realize that, hey, yo, they're the problem. Just like Japan is buying oil from China, as well as I believe France, right? And these other NATO countries, and European countries, this is what's gonna eventually happen. All right, because America's hurting its own allies, right? To forward itself. All right. And this is going to be the eventual demise, man. Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast shall hate the whore, Babylon the Great. All right. And the 10 horns are NATO, the EU. All right. That alliance, that whole European alliance. All right. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast. Right. Babylon the Great, America. These shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire, the thermonuclear destruction. Okay, they're going to launch nuclear missiles on this place, man. They're going to destroy this place. Just like it told you I read in Jeremiah, right? Jeremiah 50 and 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that he hath taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. It's going to be destroyed. All right. It's going to be completely destroyed.
This leaked document, it's not confirmed enough for me, right? Yeah. However, the response to this from the United States government is what concerns me. I want to hear what you have to think, what you have to say about this, Jake, and I'll tell you what I mean.
So look, the document's very important. The reason we keep saying that it's by Ken Klippenstein is because he has excellent sources and that have proven to be correct over and over again in the national security apparatus. So to me, the document is just a small piece of the puzzle, because the other things that the administration has said publicly already confirm that we've given Israel the green light. And I need you to be clear about what we gave them the green light for. Go ahead and start a war in the Middle East. And we're gonna back you up, and we're gonna go fight that war for you. So let me give you things that are already public, so there's no dispute about this. Jake Sullivan, who's the national security advisor.
We have a video of him talking about that, so let's go to that video.
We are also engaging Iran diplomatically regarding its nuclear program, and we continue to believe that it was a tragic mistake to leave the deal with nothing at all to replace it. But we have made clear to Iran that it can never be permitted to obtain a nuclear weapon. As President Biden has repeatedly reaffirmed, he will take the actions that are necessary to stand by this statement, including by recognizing Israel's freedom of action.
Guys, so him saying we're never gonna let Iran have a nuclear weapon is not big news. Okay, so that's what they often say. The question is how, right? The very last thing he said was absolutely critical. He said that includes giving Israel freedom of action. What that means is they can bomb Iran. And once they start that war, we are going to back them 100%. So they now have a giant flashing green light. And you saw it with your own eyes there. Freedom of action, that's exactly what it means. You could ask any person who's involved in foreign policy, etc. We're saying go, okay? Now that's insane, but there's more. I wanna go to graphic 5. This is our ambassador to Israel, Tom Nides. He says, as President Joe Biden has said, this is what he said earlier, we will not stand by and watch Iran get a nuclear weapon, number one. Number two, he said all the options are on the table. Number three, Israel can and should do whatever they need to deal with, and we've got their back. That is not unclear at all. That is a giant green light. Go ahead and start a war with Iran. We would love to engage in another disastrous war in the Middle East. Iran is 4 times the size of Iraq, and its military is far more capable. And by the way, there's no evidence that they're developing nukes. None. And number 3, guys, not only is there no evidence that they're developing nukes, we can end their nuclear program tomorrow by getting back into the same exact deal that Obama signed.
Exactly.
So why?
Okay, this is the devil, man. All right, they said they'll have no proof of them even having nuclear weapons, just like what Bush did. All right, and I remember he did that joke when he was like, the nuclear weapons are probably over there. It's probably over here. You could probably still find it on YouTube. All right, these are the devil. All right, lied on the people and said they had nuclear weapons. No, that they didn't have any. These are farmers and stuff like that, man. These are third world countries that they robbed all the resources from. Okay, and then they're over here talking about they have nuclear weapons. You know, but now they're getting aided by other countries that are helping them to build themselves up, man. That's why the weak is saying that they are strong, man. All right. And these devils are back. They said they're gonna back them 100%. Go ahead, start war. Go ahead and start complete all-out war. All right, and we're gonna back you, which is gonna bring World War III. Okay, Revelation 6:4. And there went out another horse that was red, symbolizing Esau, Edom. Okay, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Right, that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. And who was blessed with the sword? Esau, Edom. All right. Esau, Edom was blessed with the sword. All right. Oh, so. See. All right, here we go. All right, this is the blessing that Isaac gave unto Esau. All right, after he gave up his birthright and Jacob supplanted him, right, and got the blessing. Hold on. I'm gonna read from 39, 27, Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac, his father, answered him, because Esau's crying, begging the father, like, he's asking for the blessing, like, give me a blessing, right? Give me something. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. And remember, he was the firstborn, so he's gonna enter into his blessing first. Before Jacob. Jacob was the younger one. So his blessing is going to come after. All right. So Esau was the oldest. So his blessing he's going to get his blessing first. But we got the best blessing, which was already ours anyway. You know. And Isaac said, and Isaac's his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. He's going to be in the best places on the planet. You see these Edomites, how they live, man. See how they live. Next verse. And by thy sword shalt thou live, by war, by taking, conquering, pillaging, rape, rob, murder. This is how you're gonna live. And thou shalt serve thy brother, which he did. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from thy neck, which he did, right? But the point is that he was blessed, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and by his sword he's going to live, okay? Revelation 6:4, and there went out another horse that was red, which is, like I said, signifies Esau, Edom, okay? As he's red. And power was given to him that sat thereon. Remember, Job 9 and 24, the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked, right? To take peace from the earth. Who takes peace from the earth? Who's going around the earth, going to these other nations, destroying these nations, destroying these economies, right? Constantly at war, constantly fighting, constantly bombing people. All right, constantly spewing a madness to these other countries and bringing madness to these other countries. Babylon the Great, America. All right, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. This is Esau, Edom. Okay, these devils, they were given this power to take. The Lord gave them the power to take peace from the earth. Okay.
Why wouldn't Biden do that? Here's an excellent clue. Graphic number 6. In 2009, after then Vice President Biden said, quote, Israel can determine for itself what they decide to do relative to Iran, i.e. freedom of action. Obama clarified that his administration was, quote, absolutely not giving Israel a green light to attack Iran. Now, I give you that because that's the contrast. So I got 1,000 issues with Obama too, but in this case, he said, we are not giving a green light. And then he made a deal that took away any nuclear capability that Iran had. Perfectly done, right? Biden, meanwhile, even back then is itching for war. Remember, he voted for the Iraq war. He's basically been a warmonger his whole life, right? And so he's like, no, give him freedom of action, green light. And Obama has to reel him back in. And now that he's president, he's like, oh, fantastic. Let's give him a green light and we can do another insane, lunatic war in the Middle East.
Yeah, and if you take a step back and you look at the political landscape overall, right? Domestic policy is tied to foreign policy. If you take a look at the negotiations that are needlessly taking place among Democrats and Republicans in regard to the debt ceiling, notice how the Republican Party wants to freeze spending on everything, with the exception of defense. They want to increase spending on defense moving forward. Why do they want to do that? And so I think that they're eventually going to get what they want because Democrats are pretending like, they're backing us into a corner. They're holding the debt ceiling hostage. You have some progressives saying, why are we negotiating with economic terrorists? Jamal Bowman, for instance, was quoted as saying that today, and I agree with him on that. But the important thing to remember is that corporate Democrats are pretending like they have to negotiate with Republicans on this. And in the end, they're gonna give the Republican Party what they want. There will be a spending freeze when it comes to everything that benefits ordinary Americans here in the United States, with one exception, and that would be spending on defense. And it's concerning because, look, first of all, Biden ran on, can you believe what Trump did and pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal? I'm gonna make sure that we get back in. Of course, he didn't do that. He reneged on that promise. And there seems to be some frustration that the endless sanctions against Iran have failed. They want regime change in Iran.
Yeah, when are they gonna get it through their thick skulls, unless they're complete and utter liars, which is not only possible, but likely. But if they genuinely believe that, when has sanctions ever worked in a situation like this? It didn't work in Iraq, it didn't work in North Korea. It's when you have someone who's basically a dictator and the Grand Ayatollah fits that bill in Iran. They don't have fair elections in Iran where anybody can run and anybody can win, anybody can have freedom of the press or speech, obviously, right? In a situation like that, sanctions never ever work. And they're always an excuse for war. Oh, we tried sanctions. What are we supposed to do now? Invade them now? You know it doesn't work. But even more so in this case, you know that the deal that they made with Iran to get their all nuclear material out of Iran worked.
It worked, yep.
It 100% worked, and it was a democratic deal. It was one of the things I gave Obama tremendous credit for. So why don't you just go back into the same exact deal? Remember, the guy who ended the deal was Trump boogeyman. So why is Biden doing the same exact thing as Trump? And so look, if you watch mainstream media, they'll tell you, no, Biden's an angel on everything and Trump's a devil on everything. But really, because look, I hate Trump.
They both devils.
And he's wrong on 997 things out of 1,000, right? But on this, by the way, we once violated their airspace, Iran's, while Trump was president. And we went in with a fighter jet and a drone. The Iranians could have shot down both and killed our pilot and probably taken the material that we had on the plane, including the intelligence that built that plane, okay? And they chose not to, they shot down the drone. The fact that they shot down the drone shows that they could have shot down the jet, right? So the Pentagon, which are filled to the rim with warmongers, were like, all right, great, let's bomb the middle of Iran, and it would only kill 150 civilians. And to Donald Trump's credit, He said, no, that's disproportionate. So we did not do an attack inside Iran. Now, that is a very rare thing that Donald Trump got right. But our job is to be honest with you and deliver the actual news. So look at Trump showing restraint there, maybe the one and only time, but give him credit for that. Now, again, context for Biden, he got us out of Afghanistan. We gave him a world of credit for that. And at that point, it looked like, hey, maybe he's not a warmonger. Maybe he's gonna withdraw these troops and end these endless wars. But here we go. Now, endless funding into Ukraine. Again, Ukraine deserves help, right? But the question is how much. But those defense contractors, they have Biden 100% wrapped up.
Right.
So they're getting rich over there. They're getting rich with extra defense spending. And now they're flirting with what would be, if you thought Iraq was bad, what would be the most disastrous war of our lifetime.
Right.
Okay. And it's gonna be more devastating than they even believe, because that's what's gonna lead us into complete all-out war. All-out war. World War III. It's gonna be devastating, man. Because, you know, there's nuclear weapons involved. Everybody has a nuclear weapon now. All right? Everybody. And if you think for a second that these devils care if they have nuclear weapons or not, no. They just don't want to get destroyed, but they are going to still get destroyed, all right? And America is going to jump into this war, and Russia is going to jump into this war, and their allies are going to jump into this war, and it's going to all go down, all right? And it's going to end with what I read here. Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. The thermonuclear missiles on Babylon the Great and on Israel, these Amalekites, they're gonna get destroyed, utterly destroyed, because they are the problem. All right, so you get the point. I didn't want to make this too long. But like he said, this is gonna be way more devastating than Iraq. And like General Wesley said, they already had this planned. Okay, this is already planned. All right, they were gonna they were gonna go for Iran. That was the last place that they're gonna go to war with. The last place that they want to try to conquer or destroy. But that's gonna backfire on them, and it's gonna destroy them. All right, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee. All right. So with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and to the elders and the apostles who preach your word in sincerity and truth all over the globe. Tawadi Yahweh Shem El Shai. Shalom.